Alright, ladies and gents, it's hobby vlog time. Not done one of these in a while. How do I usually do these? How do I usually start them? I'm not sure. Anyway, change of locale, as you can see. We are now in the office with a capital O. And I have my helpful assistant down here. That's Colin. Say hello, Colin. No, he's refusing on principle now. What does he want? He wants to go outside. Okay, hold on. Here you go. You watch, he'll want to come back in a second. Right, where was I? Yeah. So, new office. What was once the filming studio is now a bedroom, and this is now the office. Where obviously, as you can see, my computer is, and also where I'm going to be doing Warhammer stuff going forward. Obviously, there's a noticeable lack of gaming table right now, but that will change. I apologise for it being a little bit messy. Unfortunately, it's not as tight as it was when I first got this sorted out because the cat arrived and then complicated everything. So there's just sort of general cat detritus everywhere now. Gonna get his food bowls downstairs at some point. He's still sort of settling in. He's only been here for about a week, so he had to start off just in this room and then eventually move on to exploring the rest of the house. And eventually, that litter tray. I hoovered this morning. Look at the mess he's made. That litter tray, along with his food bowls and stuff, are going to go elsewhere, probably downstairs. But it was a mammoth job. It took about a month of on and off sorting this to get it to more or less where it is at the minute. And as you can see, there's still just general stuff around that I'm struggling to find a place for. I've got the big tubs of sprues, a drying rack for some reason, a spare curtain, shoes, cat carrier, tray liners, old computer, loads of stuff. An old teddy bear from about flipping 25 years ago now or something. I just don't know where to put the guy, so he's just kind of sat there. Here's my Hex firebox. This arrived the other day. Grey Knights and Thousand Suns in this. I got it because I did the maths on the price of the models in it. And it was about, worked out, I think, about £100 cheaper to get this box rather than everything in it separately. And I figured, well, at some point I'm going to add to my tiny Grey Knights force I already have, and at some point I'm going to want to do some Thousand Suns, whether I add them to the Black Legion or do them as their own thing. So I might as well get it now, I suppose. But that's the trap I suppose they want you to fall into, isn't it, really? But never mind, I fell into it. What else we got going on here? Obviously the computer, cat's bed, cutting board. Got some models on there I'll show you off in a minute. Talk about what I've been doing and what's going to be going on. Bookshelves up there, big box sets up there, with other random bits and bobs. Some on-brand artwork on the walls. Bit tacky, frankly, all this stuff, to be honest with you, but I figured for filming in here with battle reports and stuff, it makes a nice backdrop, I guess. Lots of dice, more books, games, lots of cards, most of which are now obsolete. Old Game Boy Color. Books, more books. Some copies of White Dwarf. A sword. Magnifying glass thing that I occasionally use for painting, though not very often. Yeah, that's all there is to say to it, really, other than, the Tower of Shame over here. Because I ran out of space in the cupboards for stuff. Although, in fairness, about half of this, specifically the top half, is actually just armies that have already been painted and are all on carry cases that they didn't have anywhere for, so they just got piled on top. But you can probably have fun pausing the video and reading all the labels. There's a few bits piled up here. A lot of this I'm going to start getting rid of, to be honest with you. There's a lot of stuff I have that I don't really want anymore, like a large collection of still brand new in box Space Wolf stuff that I'm just never going to use, for example, which I think I'm probably just going to sell, get a bit of extra cash. Got more armies actually up in those little trays, impromptu trays, on the top of the old wardrobes there, as well. But yeah, it's not perfect right now, but it's usable at least. Need to make some space on that table, and yeah, and then the gaming table needs to move into here as well, so I can actually start filming battle reports and stuff. The nice thing about here is it's bigger, so I'll be able to get all the way around the table. I won't have to bodge it up against a wall, because it was very cramped in that old room. It really, really was. There wasn't much room to manoeuvre, but there's much better in here, even though it might not look like it on the video. Yeah, it's good. It's an improvement. The acoustics are better in here, I think. It's a little less echoey, although I suppose I'll find out whether that's actually true when I come to edit this on the computer, rather than just what I happen to think. But I think it's better. Anyway, I've actually got some sound absorbing foam over here that I need to stick up, which will help with that as well. Oh yeah, it's the old wooden replica rifle. I've had that since I was a kid. My father made it for me. And I've just never had the heart to get rid of it, really. So it just sort of sits there. Occasionally use it to poke stuff with, or close curtains with, or something like that. But hey, yeah, a lot of general nerd stuff in this room here in the nerd cave. As you can see, there's a replica Pip-Boy up on that top shelf. But it's what it is. And yeah, it's bigger than the old place, so it's a big improvement in that regard anyway. Yes. Yeah, so I've been doing some stuff. Let's go have a look at that. I told you he'd want to come back in. Look at him. Look at him. Look at that face. Oh. What? What does he want? What are you trying to communicate? You want to come up here? On your bed? Up. No, he's just staring around like, what the hell's the human doing? How does he not understand my very simple instructions? Oh, I see. He wants to play with the dangly bit. Uh-huh. No dangly bit for you, sir. Anyway, here we are at the desk. I know the lighting here is not great at the moment, because I just have this one desk lamp. I really need to get either another one or a bigger desk lamp. One desk lamp to rule them all, and in the darkness, well, in the brightness, blind them. Speaking of which, Lord of the Rings minis, but we'll get to that later. So here's some Age of Sigmar stuff. Now, I've showed off my Age of Sigmar stuff in previous hobby vlogs. I think on my Cities of Sigmar stuff I showed you. Did a few extra bits for them, as you can see. I got this guy who I don't remember the names of any of the Stormcast stuff, because it's all, you know, something incredibly trademarkable and therefore impossible to remember. But this guy with the trumpet I call Big Tutus, and he's wonderful, and I've painted him. I believe on the tabletop his trumpet you can shoot lightning bolts out of it or something hilarious like that, so you know, he piqued my interest. I have the Knight Questor, I think this guy's called. It's the one that looks strikingly similar to Ainsley Harriet. I've got him. He's cool. He was limited edition thing, so I got him. I have the Knight Castellant, or is it Lord Castellant? It's the guy that runs the garrisons of the Stormkeep, you know, the sort of fortress where all the Stormcast are based out of in the lore, I think. He had this big magic lantern and a big axe, and I gave him this helmet with a feather plume in it. And he comes with a pet Gryph-hound, which is this guy here, which is pretty cool. So I painted him up, and I painted one of the new ones from the Dominion set, which is this mage lady here. I customised her a bit. I got rid of the big metal collar thing she came with, because I thought it looked a little bit too daft for my liking. And I gave her a different head. I think it was actually one of the Forge World Stormcast heads. I don't know if they still make those, actually, but I used one of those, because I had them in the bets box. And yeah, painted her up. Quite pleased with her. It was pretty good. I really do like the new generation of Stormcast models they've done. Big improvement over the old ones. And these guys are okay. They're just a little bit chunky. They look a little bit too much like Space Marines. You know, they were trying a bit too hard with these massive pauldrons, etc. And I really prefer the slightly slimmer looking new Stormcasts that look a lot more like actual medieval knights. Just works better for me in a fantasy setting, anyway. These guys are the other chaps from the Dominion set who I've built all of the orc stuff from the Dominion set. I know you're supposed to call them orcs these days because trademarks and copyright, but I'm going to call them orcs because that's what they've always been, and this is a bit like the whole Imperial Guard / Astra Militarum thing. They're orcs to me, and I'm going to call them orcs. And I've just noticed this one's base has gotten chipped on the bottom there. I love it when that happens. I'll have to fix that in a minute. Are you playing with your balls again? Yep. Anyway, these are the crawl boys. They are the Morky orcs. The sneaky, stab you in the gut, well, stab you in the back, git orcs that are a bit skinnier looking and hunchbacked and mean, and I really actually quite like them a lot. I think they're pretty cool. Big fan. I wasn't sure what to make of them when they first announced these guys, actually, but they've really grown on me, especially as I've got my hands on some of my own. I really quite like these guys. I like them a lot. So I've been working on these guys. So this is all Age of Sigmar stuff. You may be wondering, what about 40k? That's what you make battle reports for. And the answer is I've not really done a lot of 40k stuff recently at all. Primarily because I'll level with you folks. I've really fallen out of love with 40k, specifically 9th edition at the moment. I have been playing it on and off over the last few months, mostly via Tabletop Simulator with friends because, you know, pandemic and whatever. And it's just very convenient. We all started playing Tabletop Simulator during the pandemic, and now we've kind of kept on doing it. But I don't know. I something about 9th edition. Something about 9th edition. He says, like, I couldn't sit here for 2 hours rambling about why I don't like 9th edition. Hello, Colin. Yes, hello. In the tradition of every great Warhammer YouTuber, I do in fact have a cat who is helping now. I say that in bloomin' quotation marks. Anyway, he just wants to know what's going on. He's curious. What is the human doing? Why is he looking at these tiny men and talking? But anyway, suffice to say, I'm a bit disenchanted with 9th edition 40k at the moment. He's still got paint on his tail. I was painting on this desk the other day, and he's largely been very good. He has his little bed here, and he generally sticks to over there. He sticks to there, I stick to here. That way he's able to be near me and sleep while I'm doing whatever I'm doing over here. Back twitching. He's probably about to jump somewhere. It's largely been okay. Occasionally, though, he does this. And the other day I was painting, I had my palette out, and he just swished his tail right through a bunch of Ushabti bone on the palette. So getting that off his tail was a fun experience for everyone involved. Anyway, yeah. You want to sit in your bed? Yeah, you stay there. Or don't. He's about to jump off and go chase something, isn't he? Yep, of course you are. Bye, then. See you later. Anyway. Where was I? Yeah, 9th edition 40k. Yeah, the new codex. It's not so much the core rules of 9th edition 40k. The core rules are okay. The missions are very boring. I will say that much. The missions are incredibly boring. And I don't care for them very much, but you can get around that by just playing with like open war cards and stuff, or just using old missions from previous editions, so that's not really a problem. And the core rules for 9th edition are fine. They're decent, really. They're just 8th edition with a few fixes, essentially. It's the codexes is the problem. It's the codexes. They seem to always be, all the 9th edition ones I've got so far, I've had a look through them, and they always seem to be full of very complicated and needless rules that require you to do lots of admin every turn. Like the Necron protocol things where you have to get your little cards out and then you decide before the game what turn what bonus is going to be active in, and all the bonuses are rubbish anyway, so who honestly cares? And they only affect stuff within X number of inches of a character, and it's just loads of little things like that. The codexes are bloody full of stuff that you need to constantly try and remember in order to be able to play. And I found that with the 9th edition codexes I've had to, and I've not had to do this ever really with 40k, but with the 9th edition codexes I've had to actually sit down and write out cheat sheets on a page of A4 paper to help me try and remember while I'm playing stuff that I need to do. I've never had to do that before. Certainly never had to do that in 8th edition. And it drives me batty. As someone with a bit of a spotty memory on a good day, it drives me absolutely up the wall, and it makes the game very unfun to play, unfortunately. And the other thing is, as well, they keep removing a lot of the random elements from the game. A lot of the stuff that I find fun, like Orc Bubble Chuckers having completely random stats, for example, they keep removing things like that and replacing them with more boring versions. I think Disgustingly Resilient for Death Guard was another one. They got rid of the ignoring damage on a 5-up dice roll and replaced it with you just reduce incoming damage by 1. So no dice rolls required, no randomness required, just you reduce incoming damage by a flat 1. And yeah, that seems to be the theme of 9th edition, is suck out any and all random elements and make it more boring. At least that's the way I see it, and I don't like it very much, if I'm honest. I was just sitting, I was talking to Alf on his stream when we were playing some tabletop Sim 40k just yesterday, in fact, to the day of filming this, and I said to him, I was sitting there and I was thinking, and I said to him, you know how Khan the Betrayer? And he was like, yes. I was like, you know Khan the Betrayer, like when he misses in combat and he hits one of his own blokes instead? He was like, yes. I was like, how much do you want to bet they're going to remove that in 9th edition when they make a Chaos Codex? He was like, yeah, good point. Because I bet they will. I bet they will. Anything silly or fun like that, that's a bit random, gone. Will be removed. They'll probably keep the name of the rule and then change it to something more boring and safe. I'd be pleasantly surprised if they do keep it, actually, because, I mean, that's always been the thing with Khan. For as long as I bloody remember, all the way back to 3rd edition, it was the thing. If he misses in combat, he hits his own guys instead. It's always been a thing, but I wouldn't put it past 9th edition to change that and make it more boring. Anyway, the point is, I've fallen out of love a bit with 40k 9th edition. I still play it. I still will play it. I'd be stupid not to. I've got so much 40k stuff. I'm kind of held hostage by it all now. But frankly, it's still fun to play under the right circumstances and just throw dice with someone and chat nonsense and have a laugh. But it's, as a game in and of itself, that is fun to play. It's less fun to play than it used to be for me. And so I started dabbling in other game systems, and Age of Sigmar is one of them, which is why I'm showing you Age of Sigmar minis, and this is why they've been pretty much the only thing I've been working on lately is Age of Sigmar minis. Because I want to play some Age of Sigmar, because I've read the core rules for the new edition of Age of Sigmar, and I've read some of the, army rules, and it all looks pretty straightforward and fun, and I like it. And so I'm probably going to delve into that a little bit, because I've had Age of Sigmar minis for ages now, and I've never actually bothered to play with them. Until now, anyway. So, yeah, I've got a bunch of these Orc guys from the Dominion set that I'm building. I built them all. I'm now painting them, as you can see. Having a good time doing that. I think these guys are very cool. Very nice. I have the Cities of Sigmar and Stormcast stuff over here, as you can see. And also, I have some Slaves to Darkness Chaos stuff that I'll show you in just a minute. In fact, hold on, I'll show you it now. Alright, in here we have Chaos Warriors. Again, lighting's not brilliant. You can see some much better pictures of these on my Instagram, actually, where I posted a big group shot of all this lot. But I have loads of Chaos Warriors, Slaves to Darkness. I'm aiming to get 3 little armies set up that I can use and can also battle each other if I want to do like solo Age of Sigmar battle reports, which, I quite enjoy doing the solo battle reports, so I don't see why I shouldn't extend that to Age of Sigmar. These are my Chaos Warriors. Mostly Oldhammer minis, actually, these. And there's much in the way of new stuff in here at all. In fact, a lot of this is not even Games Workshop. Like this guy here. This is a D&D Bugbear miniature that I painted up to join the army as a Exalted Champion of Chaos. I love the rules for Exalted Champions of Chaos in Age of Sigmar, actually, because they're deliberately so vague that you can use just about any model you can think of that will fit on a 32mm base, and he will be fine. The rules will accommodate for him. It's really wonderful, because like this guy is an Exalted Champion of Chaos. This guy is an Exalted Champion of Chaos. This snaky dude is an Exalted Champion of Chaos. This guy is from Die Hard Miniatures. In case you're curious, along with this big Chaos Lord guy, Chaos Lord, who I think I'm going to use as a Chaos Lord on Demonic Mount, just to represent that he's got a big snake body. This guy I like. He's pretty cool. He's the leader of the army. I have some homebrew narrative around these guys and sort of this area of the realms they come from, and then you have these snake folks that worship chaos and who rule over these puny humans and stuff. And yeah, they're always at odds with the city that all my order minis come from. And I got a troll here. He's from Troll Soup. I'm going to use him as probably an Ogroid Myrmidon or something, sort of mid-sized monster, along with this D&D ogre, who I'm quite pleased with, actually. He's called Big Grug. This guy here is Little Grug. The brother's Grug. He's got a little Chaos Star tattoo on his back and everything. I think it's pretty good. I like it a lot. Went for this sort of rusty red desert basing to kind of make them really play up this sort of Conan the Barbarian vibe they've got going on. Love it. Had a lot of fun coming up with the scheme for these guys and painting them and stuff. I've got a few more because I currently have 15 Chaos Warriors, and you can only take them in increments of 10, annoyingly. So I actually have an envelope here, which I'm going to take in to show you my address on. I have this envelope here, which contains another 5 Chaos Warriors on sprues that I can add to this, and then I'll have 2 units of 10 Chaos Warriors. And I added the points for this up, and including all these characters and a few monsters, and all the Chaos Warriors, it's actually about 1,500 points of models in here. I know it doesn't look like a lot, but this is apparently about 1,500 points of Slaves to Darkness, which is pretty neat. The Chaos Warriors themselves are actually quite elite, I think, so that's good. So that'd be about 1,500 points of Chaos I got there. I can't imagine how effective it will actually be on the tabletop, but it's technically 1,500 points of Slaves to Darkness. And the wonderful thing about Age of Sigmar is you could quite easily make soup armies and plug other stuff into it. So I could get some beastmen, I could get some demons, I could get some... what else is there? Some of the god-specific armies, like Blades of Khorne, Heed Knights of Slanesh, and stuff like that. Lots of scope for expansion. It's a nice thing about Age of Sigmar's system, the way it works with the different allegiances and stuff. And it has very firm, very straightforward, very simple allies rules, which is basically like 1 in 4 of the entire sum total of the models in your army can be allies. You can include them in your army. They will not break your sort of army traits or allegiance abilities or whatever they're called for the rest of your army, and you can have them. Like 1/4 of your army can be allies. Job done, nice and simple. Or you can run it all as a sort of unified Order force or Chaos force instead of just specifically a Slaves to Darkness force or whatever. There's lots of options. The thing I really like about Age of Sigmar, based on what I've read of the rules and stuff, is that it's so flexible in terms of what you want to do with your army. You can be so damn creative with it, which is, I think, part of the philosophy behind the game. And I love that. Versus 40k, where it's incredibly restrictive on what you can and cannot mix, because they're constantly trying to balance it around competitive tournament, exploitative, loophole searching people who are, as I've said in the past, I have no ill will towards. They're just playing their 40k their way, the way they always have. It's on GW, perhaps overreacting to the way those guys play and changing the way the game works for the rest of us. But Age of Sigmar seems to have very firmly planted both of its feet largely in the narrative corner of the triangle of wargaming, with you've got narrative at one end, competitive at another end, and just ease to play, ease of access, ease of play in the other corner. And it is easy to get into as well, because all you technically need with Age of Sigmar is the models and the rules that they come within the box, and you can actually properly play a game of open play with that. In fact, the first battle report I do of Age of Sigmar on the channel, and I think I will do one, it's probably just going to be very basic open play mode. You use any models you want in any quantity you want. You use the stat cards and the rules provided on them, and then you just go to town. And that's still fun, There's still enough flavour in the units to actually make that fun. And then I can add other stuff on top of that later. I got these guys. I've got the Cities of Sigmar guys I've already showed you, and I am working on orcs. So then I'll have a little destruction army, which I can add other stuff to, like giants and ogres, and other types of orcs as well, like the Iron Jaws and stuff. Likewise with the Cities of Sigmar guys, I can add all sorts to that. All freaking sorts to those guys. You can have elves and dwarves and humans and loads of stuff, really. You can have giants. I learned recently that the big mega gargants, the big giants that they sell, you can have them in virtually any army, because certain types of giants you can use in destruction, death, order, or chaos armies. So I can have a big chaos giant, a big order giant, and a big destruction giant, and you have a big giant battle. You use them a bit like you use Imperial Knights, essentially, in 40k. Or you can run them all as an army by themselves. So that's the whole thing. Oh, yeah, I like my standard bear. Do you like my standard bear? I'm quite proud of this guy. I made a little emblem for the warband and everything. It's like a snake eating its own tail with an 8-pointed star behind it, because I felt like a snake eating its own tail is very chaos. Not to mention, the leader of the warband is a snake dude. So I felt like that was probably appropriate. So that's the thing. Been working on these guys. Trying to close this box one-handed is an interesting experience. There you go, my professional labelling job on the front there. This is the box that my audio box over there came in originally, which for some reason I hadn't gotten rid of, but I'm glad I didn't get rid of it in the end, because it's useful for storing minis in. So what else have I been doing? I also got into a little bit of the Middle-earth... Oh, God, right, so this is a bit of a mouthful, but officially it's called the Middle-earth Strategy Battle Game, formerly known just as Lord of the Rings back in the day. And I'm sure at least a few of you watching this probably played that back in the day like I did when I was a teenager, because it got very popular here in the UK for a little while. Did Lord of the Rings. And I had a few of the minis knocking around, and I actually painted them up just for fun. I've got Grishnak here, who he's one of the orcs that captures Merry and Pippin after the ambush at Amon Hen, and takes them away to Isengard, or at least the idea is they're taking them out to Isengard, and then of course events transpire that mean that doesn't happen. But this is Grishnak. I've got Glorfindel as well, the elf, who obviously in the books is the one that rescues Frodo and takes him across the river to Rivendell, instead of Arwen, as she does in the films, but Glorfindel is the chap who did it in the books. And this is actually quite an old mini from him. I think he has a much newer one these days, but this is the old Glorfindel mini that I've had for ages. And I've got Bilbo Baggins with his ring. You can't see very well at the moment because of the lighting. But there it is. There's Bilbo with his ring. And I got him recently, actually, because the last chance to buy is the Bilbo mini. They're not going to be making him anymore, so I figured I might as well get him, and I painted him up. I've also, in one of the drawers here, here we are, I have some Mordor Orc Commanders, because come my next paycheck, I'm going to pick up the Pelennor Fields big box for Middle-earth, which has loads of Riders of Rohan in it, and loads of Mordor stuff, like a Troll and a load of Orcs, and the Witch King on his fell beast. Because I want to start getting into Middle-earth, because I've been playing it with a friend on Tabletop Simulator, and I bloody love it. I think the Middle-earth strategy battle game is genuinely probably one of the most fun rule sets Games Workshop have come up with in recent years. It's so good. It's so much bloody fun is this game. I can't believe it's not more popular. So, yeah, this is a thing. This will be a thing. I will probably do battle reports of this, even if they're just solo battle reports. And the fun thing is, honestly, as well, because of the way the rules work for this game, it would be ideally suited to doing solo battle reports, actually, with Middle-earth. It would take too long to explain why now, but just trust me on that. So I have lots of ideas for stuff I could do with that. One idea I had is like a sort of Fellowship of the Ring, but in reverse, where it's like a gang of bad guys going on a quest, which could be kind of fun. I had this idea of like Saruman in his tower in Orthanc getting a bunch of his chief henchmen together and being like, I must send you on a quest to go and recover, I don't know, one of the Dwarven rings or something like that. And so they go on a quest across Middle-earth to sort of get it, and it'd be all the sort of like all the henchmen from Isengard, like the some of the Dunlending chieftains and the Uruks and stuff like that, like Lurtz and Ugluk and stuff like that. Or is it Ugluk? I think it's Ugluk. That's how you pronounce it. All going together off on a quest that would be a sort of complete reverse of the Fellowship of the Ring. There'd be a bunch of baddies going off on a quest to do something. That could be really interesting. You can also just sort of do ordinary pitched battles with one army versus another, or you can do weird scenarios where it's like a bunch of heroes versus a horde of enemies. There's loads of cool stuff you could do with this. The only thing at the minute is I don't have a huge amount of fantasy terrain that would really suit this, or indeed Age of Sigmar for that matter. So that's something I need to work on. I did find some cheap MDF, like peasant huts on eBay that I think we're going to pick up, just to scatter around the table to make it look at suitably medieval fantasy. But that's a thing. But anyway, yeah. Middle-earth, bloody good game system. You have to take my word for it for now until I start doing some actual videos of it. But it's really good. I recommend it very highly indeed. It's awesome. What else? What else? Is there anything else? There's probably some other... I think there's a ton of stuff I've actually done between now and the previous hobby vlog way back when. I just don't remember what it all was. I know I did some 40k orcs. I know I definitely did that. And I think I did some Eldar as well. Among other things. I just don't remember what those things are at the moment. But anyway. So yeah, that's the stuff I'm working on at the minute. I am going to be back filming battle reports as soon as possible. Solo battle reports probably to start with, and once I've got this place sorted out and kind of got the room slightly decatted, I can start getting guests back in here, like the usual suspects like Alf and Dan, etc. Background to film some battle reports. Particularly with Dan, I'd like to continue the Reuvengrad campaign we were doing before the pandemic hit and ruined everything. So yeah. That will all continue very soon. But in the meantime, it's just the stuff I've been doing. Yeah, so I'm back doing this stuff. The hobby stuff, the Warhammers stuff. And expect more of this in the future. I don't know if this is going to be a full... It probably will be a full video all by itself. I think I'll upload this just by itself as a kind of, hi guys, I'm back, I'm still doing this, I'm not dead kind of video. And then I'll start doing proper hobby vlogs again. Once I've actually got things underway a bit. How's about that? Anyway, so let's put these guys back over here. I've had these guys just stood under my monitor because I just like looking at them. Honestly, I know it's not very tidy of me, but sometimes I just like looking at a model I've painted for a while. Especially if it's not one I intend to use anytime soon. I like to get my money's worth out of just sitting, looking at it. Just having it there. Anyway, maybe I'm just completely mad. I don't know. Right. Babbling about nonsensical stuff. Got any questions? Leave them down in the comments below. I will do my best to answer them, because there's probably a bunch of things I should have mentioned that I forgot to in this. But, yeah. Have a good one, everyone. Happy hobbying. And I'll see you in the next one of these. Whenever that happens to be. Toodaloo.